Hello everyone, welcome back to more AEW on TEW 20, not 2020, TEW 9. How much I've been doing, I did 2020 before doing 9 at all. We are here for our first episode of Dynamite, right on the new year as well, very conveniently. We are starting off with Adam Page defeating Orange Cassidy with a buckshot lariat. Not really a shock there, I don't think. Yeah. Orange Cassidy has low morale because the typical TW9 stuff of no one likes the head of talent relations. I'll have to see about that. It's still Christopher Daniels, but we'll figure out what to do about all of that. Adam Page then stands tall over Orange Cassidy and demands a mic. Before he even gets it, he decides against using it, instead going to beat down Orange Cassidy even more. He's interrupted by Mark Briscoe and Rocky Mara of the Conglomeration coming in to make the save. Page fights them off for a little bit before running out of the ring. Yelling at them, he's, saying that his anger isn't always going to be pushed away. He's gotta get his rage out or whatever bullshit. The first episode's kind of just going to be a little bit just because I am following some of the stuff that was already still announced for Dynamite. Mainly just the matches and the Jeff Jarrett. But after this, it'll be a lot more me being able to go a little bit more free with my booking. Renee Paquette is then backstage with the Undisputed Kingdom, asking him about Kyle's decision to return to the group. Kyle says that for a long time he worried that Adam Cole was going down a wrong path. They've been friends for so long, and after a lot of discussion behind the scenes, a lot of texting back and forth, a lot of phone calls, long nights out, just chatting with each other and discussing their future and AEW's future, they realized that it was more worthwhile to make sure that MJF was in check. The Kingdom, all they take turns in their own different ways, saying that basically MJF's still kind of always been a prick. And the entire time that they've known him, and the entire time that AEW's known him, and that even when it seemed like MJF was turning another leaf or anything like that, they knew that it was an act the entire time. So, right now, they realize that it's best if they still band together, if they still have everything together, while MJF is on the back foot, while he is so outnumbered, while he, has no friends. And so, yeah, just banding together is more than what is best. I still hate the fact that if you put someone to off-screen, they're not off-screen. Whatever. Jeff Jarrett's music hits, and the last outlaw makes his way to the ring. He's dressed in a very nice suit, and when he gets to the ring, he starts to pour out his heart about his career. So it's the fact that it's become apparent that he needs to start thinking about spending his time behind the scenes more so than in the ring. But before he can make any definitive statement, Chris Jericho's music hits, and the learning tree all come out. Jericho just starts making fun of Jarrett more backhandedly, saying, if you listen to the advice of a genius like the learning tree myself, of course, then Jeff Jarrett, you'd have retired a long time ago. But a lot of the time, people who retire out on top, retire on their own terms, decide that it's never really quite enough. So Jericho's just doing everyone a favor. He's going to take it into his hands so that the good people out there in the audience, all his little saplings, don't get that disappointment. After he says that, Big Bill and Brian Keith jump Jeff Jarrett, and they kind of are a bit excessive in beating him down. But the point is, they are beating the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. The part 2 was just Jericho and Jarrett. Well, it scored well, but whatever. Renee Paquette is then backstage with Will Ospreay, saying that Will asks for the time. Will says that honestly he's become sick of the way that Hangman has been acting, and all that anger that he's been showing is really just as threatening as a baby, crying about not getting every bit of attention that it wants, and Hangman's really just kind of acting like a petulant child, or, trying to make everything about him, when really there's a lot of other things. And, Paige, you're gonna take exception to this, but really, Will Ospreay doesn't care. He's, anytime, anywhere, Will Ospreay, Adam Page, they're willing to have a fight with that. After the Acclaimed are defeated by the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley submits Anthony Bowens. Okay. I imagine all this stuff is set by default. After Bobby finishes off Bowens, he and Shelton stand on either side of the downed member of the Acclaimed, while Caster recovers on the from some spot outside the ring. So Bowens is, by himself at the end of the match. Caster is knocked out on the outside. He's kind of recovering a little bit, but there is a very visible hesitation from Max Caster before he gets into the ring, make sure that Bowens is okay, which the Hurt Syndicate, they seem content enough with. Like, the thing is that Bowens doesn't really look all that... Not Bowens. Caster doesn't really look all that convinced that, he really wants to go and help out Bowens. He still does, and, he makes a show of stancing up to the much taller members of the Hurt Syndicate, but, in the end, it's not really that, he doesn't seem convinced, but it seems very much like he's going through the motions of it. But he still is helping out Bowens for now. And, okay, this should have advanced the storyline, but whatever. Mercedes Martinez then seen in a fairly fancy-looking nightclub, accompanied by Camille. I don't know how they'll explain the reason that they've been split for a little while, but whatever. She talks to the camera about how AEW has been absolutely helpless against the reign of the CEO, the greatest champion and TBS champion in the company's history, the greatest wrestler in the company's history. Mercedes Monet doesn't really feel like she needs to bother with dealing with a lot of these petty people elsewhere in the company. And, she's perfectly fine to just sit back from her ivory tower. She's perfectly fine to sit back and just watch everyone try to just even match a little bit of her capability. Just see these people try and fail to be even the slightest bit of anything close to what Mercedes is capable of. And so, she's, very confident in herself, says that she's able to take anyone out by herself at any point in time. Doesn't really matter who, doesn't matter when. The CEO will be willing to do things on her own time, but people have to make it worthwhile for her. Jamie Hayter defeats Julia Hart. I'm actually doing a lot of different ones where I'm having everyone on the right side win. Usually not the way that I do this, but whatever. Jamie Hayter, just a quick match there. She's interviewed by Tony Schiavone after the match regarding her future in the women's division. Jamie says that, of course she's always watching what Mercedes is saying. She's got her eyes on Mariah May. She's, keeping an eye on the people who are in charge of the women's division, because, while the CEO might be in charge right now, while Mariah May might be the starling that is controlling things, for herself, it's not going to be long until the AEW fanbase, until everyone in AEW gets drunk on Haterade, and she rises back to the top of the women's division. Again, mentioned this before, Jamie Hayter, fantastic young piece for the women's division. She's going to be a focal point going forward. Now, this video plays to show the history between Okada and Omega. Kenny saying that at All In, all the way out in July, two of them are going to have the fight of their lives. The stakes are going to be higher than any of the matches that they've ever had. Just a quick segment, quick hype video. Not really a big deal there. Rated FTR then defeat the Death Riders. Cope pins Yuta after a spear. Yuta was the weak link. Oh, what a shock. I think he's, low. He's not actually low morale either. Awful gimmick, that's for true. Almost immediately after the match, the Death Riders pounce into the ring, and Marina Shafir joins alongside the people, and Pac. Pac? I don't know exactly. Join in the beatdown of the members of Rated FTR. Mox gets Mike and he's yelling about how people like Rated FTR are the reason that AEW has fallen so far into the mud. What people like the Death Riders, what people like me, like Pac, like Claudio, Marina, Wheeler, we all need to get as much power as we can get so we can stomp out people like this. And he, he's lamenting like, Copeland, you just got back, but sorry, you have to go on the shelf again. Darby Allin's music hits. He runs out, he's foolishly trying to make the save, and he does pretty well initially, despite the numbers. Like, he probably takes down Pac a little bit. He probably takes out Claudio. I'll actually protect Wheeler for once in this, but eventually Mox whoops his ass, and then, he's taunting AEW, saying that if this is the best that AEW has, then there's really nothing that they can possibly do to stop the Death Riders. Show ends with each of the Death Riders with their boots on a different babyface. I'm thinking probably Claudio on Cope, Mox on Darby, and then kind of Pac and Wheeler on either members of FTR is interchangeable. Show gets a 66 rating. Pretty decent, I think. I haven't actually checked what our popularity is, but I mean, it seems like I'm gonna say like a 62, 63. It could be a 65 even, but still, Wheeler Yuta was used too much. What a shock. Anybody's using him too much. Hey, he will. But yeah, first episode, kind of a little bit slow, just getting back into the swing of booking, as well as still some stuff that was already fully pre-booked. Gotta get the requisite TEW new save billions of signings in, kind of just figuring out what to all do there. Things are kind of still a little bit compact right now, but that will change in due time as we move on to Collision in the next episode.